So we are finally on the eve of NFT Miami. Of course, this is going to be my first in real life NFT experience. That is why I came stateside and also why I have brought my wife. This will be the first experience speaking to any NFT people besides myself, so I'm very excited about that. So today I thought I'd just give a little preview of day one of the conference and what I'm looking forward to. Of course, day one's going to be the longest day. In case you're there, these are the places that I'll be trying to check out, and if you're interested in seeing me, these are things that I'm most excited about and where I will most likely be found. Hello, I'm Taj, digitally known as Tropic Vibes, the host of Nifty Business, where we highlight NFTs and explore Web 3.0 as we move from pure speculation to creating real-world value. First and foremost, I must say that even though I am pretty outspoken, pretty bold, what have you, I am an introvert by nature. So going to conferences and going to these social events is really not my natural wheelhouse. However, I do see the importance of them, understanding that there is nothing that beats in-person interactions, face-to-face meetings, and so forth. So I am excited about that. But I will say it's going to take a lot of energy out of me. But here's the funny thing. My wife is actually naturally an extrovert. So although she's more quiet than I am, a lot more reserved, she's the one that absolutely loves these events and what have you. So I think this is going to be more of her natural environment than mine, even though I'm the one who's gung-ho, most enthusiastic about NFTs. But as far as what's going on day one, the thing that I'm most excited about and will be a great experience for both of us is that Sammy Arriaga, who is a Miami native, is doing the opening performance, kicking this thing off bright and early, 9 a.m. So, of course, we will definitely be there for that because we're both Sammy fans. We listen to his songs. We've been in spaces with him. Just love everything that he's been doing for the NFT community and, of course, just music in general. So we will definitely be there for that bright and early 9 a.m. But here's the crazy thing. We're not morning people, and we're actually driving to the event. We're getting there very early. But normally, Jamaicans are late. Culturally, we just do not really abide by start times and what have you. But because it is Sammy, we will definitely be there at the beginning of this thing because we do not want to miss Sammy. Now, they have 2 tracks that will be going on during the event. So there's 2 stages, 2 events, 2 areas. Hopefully, they're very close to each other. Haven't really mapped out exactly where they are, but we did look over the schedule as to see the things that we definitely want to hit. And after Sammy, we will be going over to the second stage to see Web3 explained. I think that will be just a beneficial thing for my wife, not just hearing my voice, but hearing someone else explain this out and see how excited she can get about it based on how they're presenting it. I'm looking forward to just learning of different ways to explain this to other people. And normally I'm speaking to people that are already drinking the Kool-Aid, if you will, gung-ho about the space. So I want to hear how they're going to explain this because I'm assuming this is going to be for newbies. And if I can't explain this to newbies, well, what's the point? I'll only be speaking to the people that are already in the space, that are already excited, and I really want to branch out and invite as many people in as possible because that is how we're going to grow. Third thing that I'm looking forward to at 9:55 is how Web3 is revolutionizing healthcare because as Nifty Business, the promise that we make here, of course, is that we're not just speculating. We're seeing how this technology could be used with real-world applications. And healthcare is one of those areas that I see is very important, being able to have records, have everything verified, and be able to have your identity, if you will, locked up into this digital vault. And it'll just be a great way to share information. And I'm excited to see how that's going to be applied because I know I have many ideas as to how this will be done. And based on conversation with Genomes DAO and all that information really sparked even more ideas. So I would love to see what gains have been made in this area and how it's already being used. Then we're going to have to jump back over to the first track where there's going to be the NFT Leaders Roundtable of what's the best projects are doing right now. And that's something that I cover all the time right now. So that is really not very high on my list, but it's something I would love to hear because either way, I'll probably figure out that stuff anyways, but I would love to hear it up front. Then I have the first scheduling conflict of the day. Both stages at 11:50 have 2 things that I would be very interested in. MasterCard is having an announcement, which I assume I'll be able to pick up and figure out what that is after the fact. So most likely I'm going to go to the keynote with Sandy Carter. I'm a big fan of her from Unstoppable Domains. I've heard her speak multiple times in spaces, so I think that would be a great thing to see her live and in action. And I'm 99.99% sure I'm just going to end up staying for her keynote, because one of the cool things about the keynote is it's just one speaker giving their information. It's going to be very directed, well thought out, well planned. Slides, presentation is going to be A+, as opposed to these open discussions with multiple people and it just kind of goes wherever the conversation goes. I don't think it's going to be as valuable. So having a keynote speaker, I don't think I should really miss that. And I'm pretty sure I'll be able to figure out whatever that MasterCard announcement is after the fact. Then the next thing that I would say I would probably check out is 12:35 on the first track is going to be a fireside chat with Wyclef Jean from the Fugees and a solo artist himself. The main reason why I would go to that, honestly, is for my wife, because I know she knows who he is and she would be very interested and receptive to hear what kind of conversation would be going on there. But me, not so much for the whole celebrity vibe, but if it will spark her interest and get her excited about all this, I think that's something that we should check out. Then the next thing that I personally am really excited about is running your NFT project like a startup. Two reasons why I'm excited about that. Of course, this is Nifty Business. I'm interested in business, startup culture, marketing, and so forth. But also, the host of that is going to be Brian Fanzo from the NFT 365 podcast and the Mint 365 project. I've mentioned him many times, have multiple NFTs from him and been a part of their Discord and so forth. So I'm excited to see them. This will be my actual first time seeing him in the flesh. So I'm definitely going to be there for that one. At 1:30 p.m. on track 1, there's going to be investing in crypto for the future. I'm interested in that, again, mainly because my wife is with me and I just want to hear how they'll explain it. And I think that is going to be another great way just to explain things to her other than my voice. And I would love to hear what they have to say about that. Then back over to track 2 at 2:20, which is going to be transitioning your business from Web 2 to Web 3. And the reason why I think that is very important and interesting is because, number one, that is up my wheelhouse, but also because my wife is a hairdresser and primarily the number one way she promotes herself is by using Instagram. Putting her designs and her works and her creations on Instagram, people share that out, they're commenting, going back and forth, and that is how she's getting business. So that transition to Web 3, I think would just be another great thing rather than hearing my voice, seeing how her eyes could be opened up by someone else. And although I said I'm not going to be very excited about these fireside chats and what have you, one that I am pretty much excited about is one with Anthony Scaramucci. And you might be familiar with that name because he was a part of the White House press conference team for probably like 2 minutes. That was during the time of when President Trump had his whole staff like constantly changing and what have you. And he is an interesting character nonetheless. I've seen a lot of interviews with him and what have you. He's actually a pretty smart guy, sharp guy. He is in the crypto space and what have you. Even when the whole FTX thing with Sam Bankman-Fried, everything broke, he ended up doing a lot of press and speaking about that and his interactions with Sam. And I was impressed how he handled the thing. And a lot of times, you know, when these people get involved in politics and what have you, we have a lot of caricatures and a lot of jokes about them. But despite his appearance and how easy it was to make those caricatures of him, I think he's a very interesting guy and I think he's a smart guy. And I'd love to hear what he has to say about this whole space. At 3:30, they're having an onboarding the next 1 billion people into Web3. And the reason why I want to go to that, again, is because I just want my wife to hear other voices. And of course, understanding how that whole process could possibly look, onboarding more people, because we're coming from Jamaica. And onboarding is something that is going to be front and center for us, very important, because really, this is not like, you know, the US or Silicon Valley. We're in a developing nation, and what we are experiencing is not even the best internet. People might not even have a laptop, and they're just getting their first internet exposures through smartphones. So jumping to Web3, blockchain technology, all of that stuff, I would love to know how they're going to onboard, because I know they're going to discuss Southeast Asia, Africa, and all of that will definitely apply to what's happening in the Caribbean. And following that, we're also going to check out the loyalty rewards opportunities. And I think that's just great because any business can benefit from a loyalty program. And what Starbucks is doing with their Odyssey program is not just unique to a Fortune 500 or 100, whatever they are. I'm not even sure how they're ranked, but they're a publicly traded company, probably the most famous coffee business in the world. And I would love to know what sort of progress and what lessons could be learned from that case study that could be used for small businesses in particular, because a lot of businesses would benefit from this, but they don't think that they have the resources or the capabilities to even do this. So I would love to hear what is presented in that one. And just rounding out the day, a couple things that, you know, I'll be definitely looking at in the afternoon, 3:25. There's going to be AI and Web3, how it is shaping the future of business. Again, that's just right up our wheelhouse, Nifty Business, everything that is going to be applied and how that could be used in marketing and just serving customers in general. Because again, this is not about speculation. How can this technology be used to actually benefit people's lives? And I think that will be a very interesting one. Tied right into that will be on the next stage. This is a lot of jumping around. It's going to be kind of crazy. And again, I hope they're really close to each other, maybe like the next conference room over. Again, this is my first time going, so I don't know how spread out this is, but I just really hope it is easy to get from one stage to the next, because right after that, at 429, the impact of e-commerce in Web3. Now, that is really where I started my whole online journey, was in e-commerce, selling things on eBay and then my own website and so forth. So e-commerce has been very near and dear to my heart from day one since I was in high school, trying to figure all this stuff out. But now going into social media with Web 2 and then Web 3 with NFTs and all this stuff with blockchain technology. Now I want to see how all this comes full circle for me as an individual, and it's all glued together. I've covered it many times on the show using Shopify and different token gated experiences, but I want to see what the quote unquote experts have to say about this. I know experts. Who really is an expert in this field? But hey, they're on the stage, so I want to hear what they have to say. And then as a podcaster, of course, I guess I fall into that whole category of creators. Unique ways for creators to use NFTs. That will be at 457. So I am looking forward to that because, as you know, I do not take any sponsors, and I'm really not monetizing this show as of yet. I have to figure out how this is going to be a sustainable business and what have you. And using this technology is going to be the way most likely of how I'm going to keep this mission going, how I'm going to be able to finance future conferences and what have you, because at the end of the day, all this is coming out of my pocket. I am the one who's paying for the show, the hosting, the traveling, all that for both my wife and I. So it would be nice if all of my efforts and content that I'm putting out here will be able to sustain itself in the future without having to do, a PFP launch or something like that. I just want to hear what ideas are out there. I've been working on a couple things, but I am always looking for more ideas. And another one that I want to end off the day with, this is mainly for my wife, about 5 p.m., is going to be the NFT utility in the real world. Not only will that help her to, again, hear other voices, get excited about this thing, but it will help me to further explain it to other people, share it to people that might not even be the most tech savvy or what have you. I just want them to see the benefits of this. And I'm a chronic learner. I love learning this stuff and being able to explain to other people. So as many angles that I could possibly get it from, digest it, consume it, and turn it around to help other people to understand the value of this area is very important to me. So I'm excited to hear about all of that. So that is the main bulk of the day. Then after that, there's going to be the after parties and social events and what have you. So we have to figure out exactly what we're doing. Are we staying in a hotel? Are we driving back up? Because we're coming from about an hour and a half or so away, and we have to figure out exactly what's going to go. I know normal people would have all this figured out beforehand, but it all depends how tired I'm going to be. And it really doesn't make sense to get a hotel if I can end up just driving back and forth an hour and a half, especially on the weekend. Traffic isn't going to be so bad, but we'll see. So that is just a rundown of the preview of the first day, the things that I'm most interested in. And if you're attending, the areas that I can pretty much guarantee that I will be at, that you will definitely see me, is going to be the opening performance with Sammy, the keynote with Sandy Carter, and that panel that's going to be moderated by Brian Fanzo. Love to hear your thoughts on this, where you'll be if you're attending this. Please feel free to reach out to me at Tropic Vibes on Twitter. But as usual, I just want to thank you for taking time to listen to this as we're learning and building Web3 together. So until next time, later. The Nifty Business Arrow is not investment advice. It provides insights and information within the space. As with anything, please do your own research before making a decision whether you're making an investment or a purchase.